because by then everyone was under the impression that I was Muslim. I wasn't denying it because it was a lot healthier for me to pretend. Because as far as the world was concerned, I had to be. Otherwise, I don't think I would be alive. And my husband's family was keen on pretending that, yes, that's the reality. So I had to learn how to speak like them, eat like them, pray like them, the whole thing. Which is very confusing. Because, a lot of the time you're thinking like, who am I anymore? But again, it served me well. And I think I was like slowly being groomed to come to his side, and I let it go, and I let him pretend, only because I could see that the footprint of Tehran was behind everything that I could witness in Yemen. I saw how a society that was more or less, and I'm saying this very loosely, open and tolerant, at least as far as, again, the various Muslim school of thoughts were concerned, could be turned into a cesspit of violence and sectarianism, and a desire to basically slay the apostates, meaning anyone who doesn't think like you. And I was thinking that can't be. How can a country fall so far so quickly? And you're talking like less, it's just in the space of 5 years, it was insane. And I started then to look for the footprint of the regime in the Middle East and to try to understand, so hang on a second, is it really, because a lot of the time, if you live in Yemen, you are being taught to not like Saudi Arabia, that everything that happens in Yemen that is bad is because of Saudi Arabia. And then I started to question myself, is that true? Because of course, you're brand new in a country, you have to kind of figure things out. And I found out that actually, no, that wasn't the case. That a lot had to do with the fact that the Yemenis were not capable of managing their own countries, number one. And number two, the fact that Iran was playing a great deal, rather the Islamic Republic, in making sure that Yemen would not stand up. Because if you have a broken society, a broken economy, and a broken people, it's a lot easier to take over than if you have a happy people, a strong people, and a rich people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they could not take Saudi Arabia, which is why they could not take the Emirates over, or Kuwait, for example, or even Bahrain, and they really tried. So I was at this kind of juncture where I was like, okay, so what do we do now? Because it's one thing to know, who the devil is, what does he want. I wanted to establish, okay, so now you know what they want, you know who they are, how do they do it, and what is the plan? Because again, even if you know the outcome that they wish for, how are they planning to go about doing it? And I was thinking, if I can figure this out, then I will be able to not maybe prevent it. I wasn't that foolish to think as like, oh my God, I'm going to be like, this great, the new Queen Esther and decide I'm going to slay the regime. No, but I was thinking maybe I could say something, write something, contribute something that would allow for the downfall. That was my thinking. And I worked really hard to kind of like, make my way up to and say the right thing, write the right thing, because I was very clear on what it is that you had to do and to say and who to be in order to attract them. And I did.
Okay, so this is actually the turning point then.
Yes.
For you. This is quite key. And this is what I've not found in my research of the work. I haven't found this moment, this change.
Mm-hmm.
It's that you go from being interested to being like, oh no, you sort of become an active participant in wanting to change the system. So this happens after, as you described, you're still in Yemen when this flip happens.
Yes.
And what are your next moves then? So
my next move is going back to the UK. The reason being, it was becoming too dangerous in Yemen. And I think we did well because we came back, it was late 2012.
So after the Arab Spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's dangerous because of the Arab Spring.
Yes. I mean, look, I literally, I witnessed, there was a back and forth between the Houthis and the, back then, what we called the regime forces between Ali Abdullah Saleh and the Houthis and others. You had Al-Qaeda in the south, in Marib and Shabwa and Abyan that were terrorizing people. The airport was, being open and closed. And I was thinking, we're going to get caught in something. And I could see that a civil war was about to break. You have certain markers, you can tell. And I wasn't about to get stuck in Yemen. And so, the war came, not the war, but this violence was actually quite, saved me in the sense that my ex-husband back then was thinking, okay, we need to get out as well. What I was, advocating for made sense because he didn't want either to get stuck in Yemen. And so we came back to the UK. Mm-hmm. And I knew that from the UK, I would have a free hand. And also I could get a divorce, which was mainly my goal, and keep my children. Because of course, if you get a divorce in Yemen, then you're done. Your children are taken away from you. And as a woman, I have the right to just shut up, essentially. So we came back. All the while I was still writing. And I was kind of sharpening my pen because I was pushing, the envelope. I was becoming a bit more, I would say, radical in my writing, trying to get, the right hook. Because I knew there was some, there was whispers. You can tell from people adding you on LinkedIn. You can tell from the kind of emails that you receive from various publications, like in Lebanon. It was once, there was a doctor, I can't remember her name now, a lady, she's not young at all, who worked with President Bashar al-Assad. Very short hair, brunette, Dr. something.
And you think these people are keeping an eye on you?
She messaged me on Facebook telling me I was doing... No, not at all. She was telling me I was doing a great job. And so I attracted the right attention in positioning myself as kind of like pro.
Okay.
And so I knew I was on the right track. And when I get back to the UK, I was asked then to make an appearance on Etija TV. Etija TV it doesn't exist anymore, was a Hezbollah channel operating from Beirut. They don't advertise the fact that it's Hezbollah, but I'm not stupid. The people that they had on, I don't know, I'm sure you will remember this. There's Marwa Osman, who worked for Press TV now, who's South Lebanon. Her husband is Hezbollah. Worked there and had a show, and she's the one who invited me. And when I looked her up, I understood exactly who she was. She's from South Lebanon. She's covered up. I was like, okay, so you're Hezbollah. And she cries every time that, Sayyid Nasrallah was showing up on TV. And she's the one who quite famously on RT just had a complete meltdown when they announced to her that Nasrallah had died by the hand of the Israelis. And she's the one who literally opened up the way for me. So thank you. She did.
So actually, just before you come to England, and I'm just going to make a commentary here,
sure,
if I might, which is not actually a question, of all the times in your story, at that point, not only are you in this terrible relationship, completely trapped, fearing for your life, but there's also war happening.
Yes, it was fun.
I just think of, again, you're still so young, like that you could have been saved from that is kind of astonishing, because there was nothing really in your favor there.
No, but look, when we say, it was violent, yes. I mean, but again, Yemen is a very strange place, and it's not what you see on TV. So this violence, those uprisings that took place, it's not all the time, every day. It's not 24 hours. It's. I mean, look, I remember going to sleep and literally hearing, feeling the ground shake.
Yeah.
Like under the bed, and I could see the flashes of bombs,
yes,
going off away, like from in the mountains. Sana'a is a really big city, and so I was in it's called Hadda, which is not too far from the presidential palace. It's a diplomatic area, so they say. It's quite residential. Most of the fighting was taking place in northern in North Sana'a, so you're still quite far away. I also remember seeing bullets being sprayed over walls. There was one incident where there was a rocket that actually literally landed into a corner shop that did not explode, and people were just quite curious as to poking at it, and I was just like, here we go, because it's going to explode in your faces. It's a very strange place to be in, almost war zone. And I'm sure that people will tell you that. It's not what on TV you just have a snapshot of when the violence is at its most high. It's not like that all the time, and you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
You get used to the electricity cuts. You get used to hearing gunshots outside your window.
Mm-hmm.
I remember once waking up, God knows why, and I had this feeling that I needed to get the kids. And I went into their bedroom and grabbed them. And I looked up by the window, and there was a sniper. He wasn't coming for us or anything, but they were like, fighting whoever. And I was just like, my kids, could be potentially like in the line of fire. So I took them out. And it was this constant state of alertness where you have to kind of gauge, what is it that I do? And it's a good training, because then you learn how to think very calmly in very stressful situation. I don't recommend it, okay? But I'm actually glad that it happened, because then I have a good sense of what it feels like to go through an uprising or civil war. I have an understanding of what war actually sounds like, because it's very easy for people today to be calling for war, saying, oh, we want to go and fight in Ukraine, we want to go fight wherever. And I can understand the sentiment. I can understand that people have belief in ideologies that they want to defend and to their honor. But also, you have to be quite clear about what it is that war is from up close and personal. It's not pretty. You're talking about violence and you're talking about death. Not life, death. I would caution people before they call for it too eagerly. It's not pretty. I've seen it many times. I'm sure that Israelis will tell you the same thing. You don't fight a war because it's fun. It's either a defensive war, which is the case of Israel, or it's a war that is born out of an ideology that wants the surrender of another people. And that is the case of the Islamic Republic. To fight a war of defense is honorable. To be sitting on any other side is quite frankly genocidal.
So you're in London now. You are still with your husband.
Yes.
You have attracted the attention of people affiliated with Hezbollah who are writing for Hezbollah-affiliated media.
Well, I was talking to because it was a TV channel, yes.
Oh, and you're appearing on this TV. So you're not just writing, you're now a public...
Oh, I'm in the system. So they have a system. So before you get to the Mecca of Shia Islam, which is Tehran, you have to go, and I've learned that you have to go through a whole circuit. So it started with Itija for me, and then I was asked to be writing for various publications, Lebanese. It was also in Iran, in Iraq. So I was just publishing everywhere. And a lot of the time, it was just, they were basically, through different people, they were asking me, oh, can you write about this? And I was doing it. And then, I ended up being published here and there, and without me knowing beforehand where it would land. And then suddenly I was asked to go on RT, Russia Today. And I've learned that whether it's true or not now, I don't know, but it was true back then, where if you do well on RT, you will end up on Press TV.
Which is the Iranian state television.
Exactly. Now, back then, the architect of Iran, the regime's propaganda machine, Nader Talebzadeh, the man who let me in the regime, was in charge of recruiting people like me that he felt would fit the purpose that they had, which was to train new mouthpiece for the regime, to crack the West, and to translate the violence that the regime was doing in the Middle East in a way that could relate to a Western audience hungry for victimhood. And so I did well on Press TV, on RT, sorry. And then I was invited onto Press TV. And then once you get to Press TV and you say the right thing, and I had to say things that were quite horrid, that people, continue to say, oh, how could you say those things? Because I wanted to get where I got. That's why. Not because it was fun, but because I had to. And if I hadn't, I would not have done what I did.
Well, let's pick that apart a bit. It's you've got quite some sense of that place you have to get to.
Yes.
And presumably along the way, along this journey, that sense of final destination is elevating continuously, because at the beginning it's just like, I want to kind of expose this.
But then you put your finger on the regime, and the regime is looking at you, and then the regime wants you, and you're like, huh.
So it's actually happening that these opportunities are coming, and so you're leaning, it's kind of pulling you. It's not actually that there's a decision, I'm going to do it this way, but it's that these opportunities have came towards you in such a way that you're like, well, maybe if I just carry on, then play this game.
Yes and no, because again, you have to remember that I had about a decade behind me of understanding the region and how the Islamic mind works. And so I knew exactly how to set a scene. It's almost like, if you go fishing, I knew where to throw the net, and I was waiting. I wasn't sure I was going to be successful, but I had an understanding of what needed to be done in order to maybe be successful. So that's where I was at. And then, of course, as opportunities kind of like presented themselves that I kind of architected, but I think I got lucky too. I then kind of honed down and I became more astute at manipulating and understanding what is it that they wanted me to say and how to say it and how to lean onto. I kind of start, what is it, like the pressure points. What is it that they were actually interested in? And you have to be very careful because, of course, you can't look like you kind of, trying. It needs to feel natural. But I was very good at allowing people to talk so that I could kind of suss out what is it that you actually want. And then zone in on that. And then suddenly I became the messiah because they were like, "Oh, she's perfect. That's how she feels anyway." Well, I didn't. And I think as a woman, it's a skill that we kind of acquire.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode. And for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.